沐浴でリラックスされてはいかがですか?
Hi, it is Salty Oil, and today I have a guide for Hasna. So I've been playing her since she came out. I got her up to 5 stars, and she has some interesting skill sets that she can do some good combos, but she has a lot of limitations as well. So her aura technically sounds better than Magnus's, because her aura does the 15% defense, 15% attack debuff, but it also has increased 15% crit for your whole team, as long as they have hidden fragrance on it. But she also has to be within the 5 tiles of it. So two things have to happen. The enemy has to have hidden fragrance, and she has to be in range. So the range at level 1 is 3 tiles away. But you don't also want her to get killed. So staying up close is dangerous. So I would recommend to get her to at least 3 stars so she can have the 4 tiles away. Stay in range. As long as they have fragrance on, they'll get the debuffs. It's 3 debuffs. Attack, defense, increased chance of crit. I'm going to go over a few skills that I currently use, which I've been playing around with. I'll talk about some of our other skills. I'll show off some fight examples, combos you can do. You got Murderous Phantom right there. It's just basic attack, does 90% if they don't have any fragrance on it. But if they do have fragrance on them, you can do 50% extra damage, but you have to be next to the enemy. Softest Flowers, got so much fragrance on them, take 30% less damage. Now, if you're struggling getting fragrance on some people, because this could happen, Rage may be a better option if you want to be more aggressive. Because typically, first turn, you're not going to have the fragrance on the enemies, because it takes the enemy's turn to get the fragrance going. Penetrating, very good skill. It's only going to do 140% damage. And then I would not use this typically unless the enemy already has the fragrance on them. Because when you have the fragrance on them, you do 170% damage, and it increases your crit and crit damage. There's ways to get your energy back. I'll go into that in a second. This alternative skill you could use costs 2. So this might be a turn 1 skill versus the penetrating one. Because this one does 150% damage. It's already more damage if they do not have any fragrance on them. And this also spreads fragrances to enemies within range of if you hit them. So if you hit them, 2 range tiles all the way around. This is a good way to get fragrance quite a few people. This skill right here seems kind of like but it's also good. There's a few reasons for that. So if you want to get a bunch of fragrance on people on turn 1, I recommend this skill. It's got 5 turn cooldown, so you're not going to be using that much. If you want to kind of dive in real quick, first turn, do this, you're going to hit a bunch of people. They're all going to get the marks on them, and then you're going to take 30% less damage from it, and they can't get any healing received the first turn. So that's pretty decent way to start out the battle. This one's probably better for boss fights, or if you're fighting like a few enemies, such as like our current trial right now, where you're fighting enemies with a lot of health. Is because at start turn, if there's enemies with hidden fragrance, you're going to do crit 2, so you're more likely to crit someone with that increased your range. So if you have a long battle where you expect people to have fragrance for multiple turns, Scent Trigger is better. If you want to go in right away, like let's say PvP, or if you're doing Clash, I think the Dark Withering seems better. For my trial, it's only been a few days, right? Another alternative to Dark Withering though, if you don't want to take this, if you have Scented Trace, any of your attacks will inflict hidden fragrance. Doesn't matter if you use your basic attack, any attack right there. That also applies to trinkets. But let's go ahead and read this first. So if you do it, it affects them for 2 turns, right? So that's pretty good. Because your default hidden fragrance is for 1 turn. So this is 2 turns last on it when you hit them with this. If they already had fragrance when you hit them, you're going to get 2 energy back. So this is a great way to get penetrating, used multiple times. And when you kill someone, you get 40% life back. Flying Blade Armgaurd. If you use this one on one enemy, you're going to automatically get the fragrance on them. If you use the Roaring Flint, AoE, you can't use it as much. But as I kind of mentioned, beginning like first turn, if you want to do AoE, you can use this skill right here. Any enemy you hit with this is going to have fragrance on them. They get all the debuffs along with them on there too. So this is also a good way to start off the battle. Use your equipment right here. Focus Wand. You get an extra range because all of her attacks are pretty much single target attacks, right? So you get extra range for her basic attack, but the basic attack you want to be as close as possible if they already have sense on them. Teams I've been using her in, actually it's very similar to my area team. I'm using her on the Fortitude team. She doesn't get benefit from the Fortitude, but I'm using her aura and Magnus's aura as well, because Magnus aura triggers by default. So turn 1, Magnus has his aura. But I'm also using Momo, And Momo does dot skill improvements. So right here, she does 50% life loss for 2 turns, right? Momo does up to 35% extra life loss or dot damage per turn. So you get some infection on them going, you get some life loss going. They're going to lose a lot of life each turn, too. So you get anti-heal on them, life loss on them, infection on them. I haven't used her since the game came out because I kept getting like new characters and all that. But I used her again. She's interesting. She takes some getting used to, but she has jump and get all that. She gets around the map pretty easily. But she has perfect assassin. Gives extra 10, 20%, default leadership aura. Increases crit and crit damage by 15. So that helps out Hansa quite a bit right there. Increases her damage. If you got a team of 5, you can throw in Kokoa. She's part of the Fortitude team. Or I've been throwing an Anana in there. But if you got a team of 6, you can even throw a Gloria on there. And then Gloria can then buff up everybody. Increases by 12%. She can buff up your team too. So it looks like you got Gloria, Momo, Magnus, Kokoa, or Anana. And then you got Cole and Hansa. That's a team of 6. Miguel has his aura too. Drifter. Edda's a buffer too. So got that. I forgot to mention Nungle. She works with Cole's buff too. So there's quite a few overlap options you can play around with. And so far I've been really enjoying playing her. It's been a few days, but I think it's good to have a few different skills checked off so you can have some flexibility. You got your dense enemy maps versus your enemy spread out. If it's dense map, you might want to take her AoE life loss thing, stack it up with some infection skills, and you'll be wiping out the enemies pretty quickly. One skill that I did not talk about earlier that's worth taking is Life Devouer. If you do not have a healer for whatever reason, let's say you're in PvP and the healers get banned, this is a good skill to take. Does a lot of damage and does not require a mark to generate more damage. So this actually does more damage than Penetrate by default. I hope everyone's been enjoying Hasna as much as I am. She's coming really clutch in PvP. There's a lot of breakers right now. August. She kills them in one hit essentially. But she's also really fun in PvE, Clash, and we have Homo coming out soon. So I think she'll be really relevant in the current meta. If you like PvP like I do, she's been really good with the range. She does AoE, really high damage single target, and she just has a lot of flexibility. Even though she's a simple kit, she's very enjoyable.